Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do a run through of this case called Temple of the Golden Idol from the 2024 Microsoft Excel World Championship. The premise is pretty straightforward. Basically, there are 3 temples in these tabs here. Each one has paths that animals will try to run through to get the golden idol. And within these paths, there are different terrain types, which for each animal takes a different amount of time to traverse through. I will link the introduction animation to the description if you want to take a look at that and get to understand the full details. Let me just hide the answer sheet. And I think otherwise I'm just going to go ahead and get this to run through. By the way, big shout out to Harry and Dim, who this case can be very resource intensive if you're not using the right functions. As you can see, this is my 6th attempt. I don't hate this case. But I think I got it now. I think we figured out how to make it reasonable. Let's give this a shot. Here we go. So first I'm going to do is I'm going to name these ranges because these ranges are the ones that I'm going to use quite often to calculate the functions. In Temple 1, how often does the most frequent terrain type appear? So basically, what I'm going to do is, I even struggled with this when I was doing it live in Vegas. I shouldn't have because I forgot the second part. Note that temple walls, golden idols, and starting locations are not terrain types, so we ignore those 3. That is the biggest one. There we go. All right, I'm going to save the rest for later, but let's go ahead and do this. Now, what I noticed first was this was perfect as a range reference. And because Temple 1 are all straight lines, the range reference will bring me back the paths and only the paths. I know many pros don't like to use the indirect function, but I just feel that the way that this is laid out, it's just kind of really begging it. So there we have the paths. Now I'm going to save that, and I'm going to turn those into the times. So I'm going to do index travel times. Now the rows, the animals, so I'm going to X match the animal to the animal range there. And the column is the terrains. So I'm going to X match those terrains we just found, and those should turn those into the times. I'm going to sum those together to get 700, which is the correct answer for the example. Now watch what happens here. Whoops. First I put it in and paste the wrong way. There we go. Now level 2, it's the same question, just different paths. The data is still laid out very nicely, so the formula still works just as beautifully. Level 3, paths are still there, same temple. The only difference is varying distance, but with that formula, if I can copy and paste correctly, it still works just fine. There we go. First 3 levels done within 3 minutes, 200 points. I can do bonus 2. How long will it take the eagle to reach all the golden idols associated with the unique starting locations in levels 1 and 2, excluding examples? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up these unique paths in level 1 and level 2. There's the unique paths, and I should be able to use this function just as I did, or this formula just as I did before. So I'm going to stick with the eagle and only, whoa. Okay, oh right. Stick with the eagle and only the eagle. I'm going to X match indirect, and that's going to say temple 1. This time I'm going to do this cell to this cell, terrain 0. I'm going to do that for all of them. And then I'm just going to do a simple summing of all of these times. Now, a shortcut is, you know that the distance is going to be the same. If you see the eagle takes the same amount of time because it flies through all of those. You could have done math to solve that, but oh well. In Temple 1, find a path with the fewest number of terrain tiles. What is the longest amount of time it would take any animal to complete it? Look through Temple 1. This is the fewest number of terrain tiles. Let's go ahead and throw that in here for now. Let's bring our animals in here for now. Actually, let's bring our animals in here. Okay. And let's put this one up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, once again, this same formula. That's the animal. And then we already have the terrains, which is there. So that should give you the amount of time it takes the eagle to traverse all those. If I do a data table, change the animal each time, will that calculate? No, because lovely computer. Calculate the second time? Yes. And we get the max of those values. There we go. All right. Now let's go on to the second temple. So here's the second temple. Now the tricky part is I need to identify the paths. That's the labor intensive part. So what I'm going to do is first I'm going to remove these labels. I'm going to remove the labels at the bottom as well. And I am going to do nested if statements. This is where you save the resources because I've learned if you use IFS, ifs, then it takes up a lot because it's going to do all the calculations every single time. So I'm going to do if this cell is a wall, then return 0. If this cell is an idle, not necessary at this point, I'm going to return 0. If this cell is a flag, then I want to count how many flags up to this point. That's going to help me label the rows so far. So I'm going to do count if. I'm going to do here. So I'm going to start with B1 and go into AY1. So that's all the previous rows is the flag plus count if. And this is going to be the current row. So temple to B1 to B1. So we're always going to start with B and just do that current row is the flag. Right. I didn't do my nested if statements, so let me do that quick. If that, and that should go. That should do it. If not, then just take the max of all the cells around it. So that's A2, B1, C2, B3. Now, if I did that correctly, it should give me 0 first. Yes. I'm going to go ahead and paste. I want to paste formulas so I can still see the paths. Okay, circular references. Yes, this is a iterative calculation. So I need to turn this feature on. There we go. All of my paths are now properly labeled, as you can see. So we go back to temple 2 or the case. And so what I want to do is I want to find out which path this belongs to. So I'm going to do indirect temple 2 with the parentheses and whoops. That should give me the path number. Yes, it does. I'm going to save that there. So what I want to do now is filter. So I'm going to filter this entire temple where this has a path number 2 labeled. Too few arguments. Why? Oh, because I didn't do the to call correctly. Okay. That's a lot. Oh, because this should be equals. That gives me all my terrains. Yes, it does. All right. Now I can go back and do my original function. So index travel time. Row number is X match the animal. Column number is X match the terrains. Let's try that again. Okay, that worked that time. I don't know what I did differently. Add those up together. Oh, there we go. All right. Let's get those in there. Those should all match up. Good. Oh. Oh, B18 did not match up. Why did B18 not match up? Right. Well, let's just take this and see what happens. If I do this to B18, let me just put an equal so that's a proper function there. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Cactus, water, tree. Let's just check B18. No, that's very different. Path ID for B18 is 10. All right, well, let's check what path ID we're coming up with. Right? Okay, so why is that not... Oh, wait, actually, you know what? I just realized if it goes up, it does not go up. Are there more 10s in here? No. No, there's not more 10s. Why is that not calculating properly? That's a lot more than I think what is in the actual temple. Let me do this here. I think what it's doing is it's... No? That's calculating correctly. This one is not. Why is this not calculating correctly? Oh, that's what I was worried about. It's not gonna... It's not gonna tell me. Okay, I mean, this is definitely the wrong path. Is there another 10? There's another 10. Okay, so I have this formula wrong. This is why. There's another 10. These aren't calculating. Let's check. So... Okay, I found out why. This should say B2, not B1. That should label all the paths independently. That's still giving me 10 there. Oh, but it's not giving me 10 here. So now if I go back to the case, now it calculates correctly. Okay, well, glad I caught that. All right. Put the same formula in here. That should all... Oh, did not work. Why? Oh, is it still calculating? It is still calculating. Yeah, so... Yeah, so you see some of these paths aren't fully filled in. So it's still better than doing ifs, IFS, but it's still not... Okay, so you're still wrong. 051. Maybe that path is not fully filled in. 051 would be... Oh, I don't have an 051. Oh, yes, I do. It's 18. Okay, now it's filled in. Now it's filled in. Okay. Yeah. So not totally the best, but it kind of works. All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy paste these. Actually, I shouldn't have copied and pasted them right away. Let me undo that real quick because I want to save this. And let's do the same thing for Temple 3. Okay. Once again, I'm going to get rid of all my labels. Come on. There we go. Stop. There we go. Okay. And I'm just going to paste this formula back in here. This time we're going to do Temple 2. Should be Temple 3. Yep, that looks good. All right, now I'm going to go back to Temple 2, copy and paste value for all those so that doesn't keep recalculating. I probably should do the same with all of my answers in the case so far because I have a lot of volatile functions. So let me just copy and paste all of those. All right, and let's go back to Temple 3 and let's see if I paste function. That should, for the most part. All right, so what we got to pay attention to is in the middle. We got to make sure that numbers are coming into all those. Now, why do I have multiple 6s? Let me just check that. Oh, I know why. Because the range is not going all the way over. So this is now going to CW. So I need to change it to CW1. Okay. Now, I believe I'm getting different path IDs. I don't have a 7. Oh, it's over there. Okay. And they're all going in. Okay. Cool. So, same formula now. All right. It is not enough to reach a goal. Animals must escape. So we have a starting cell and we have an escape cell. So I already copy pasted these. I'm going to have to do it again, which is fine. So index, travel time, match the animal. And I'm just realizing that I should probably do the terrains first. Okay. Oh, it doesn't work that way. Okay, fine. Why did that delete everything? I'm just gonna, there we go, equals that. So that should get all my terrains. Yes, it does. All right. I'm going to lock these in because what I want to do, so that's my terrains, right? That should turn them all into numbers. Yes. That should give me the result. Now, if I move this over, let me lock in that. That's the one that's going to stay unlocked. And I sum those together, and that gets the answer. Yes. All right. So So what I did was the left path is the entrance path, the right path is the exit path. That should get all of these in. Good. All right, now we got to get the optimal escape route, which is, depending on which direction we come in from, we got to decide which direction to go out of, right? So with the limited paths, all right, the temple will close the majority depending on where the animal enters the golden idol chamber. Once an animal enters the golden idol chamber, the only exit paths that remain open are those along the opposite wall from where the animal entered. Okay? With the limited exit paths available to determine how long it will take an animal to enter the golden idol chamber and escape, assuming they pick the exit path that will allow them to escape the fastest. So, here's how I'm going to tackle this one. We have a total of, is it 24? Yes, 24. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to determine from which side they come in. So, I'm going to stick with the if statement. If countif that for this equals 1, then north. If countif this side for cy2 hash equals 1, then east. If countif the south side for cy2 hash equals 1, south. Otherwise, by default, it's going to be west, right? There we go. North, east, south, and west. Okay. Let me bring the case information over. So example 7. And we're going from B to I. Or G to I, sorry. In a column. Very good. All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to find out the path number. So I'm just going to do an indirect with that. Okay, 13. Now I'm going to find the direction. So I'm going to do, actually, so 13 should be an east path? No. That did not work. Oh, yes, east path. Okay. All right. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to calculate how long it takes the eagle to fly through all the paths. All right. And you'll see why here in a minute. So let's start with path number 1. So I'm going to filter this temple here. Okay. I probably should name that range, but oh well. Where this temple here, actually, you know what, I could just do this, equals, and I want cy2, which is the path number, cy2, that's the number. That did not, oh, let's do 2 calls, because I think filter works with like a vertical range of data. Fat fingers. All right, that should give me yes. All right, let's do the table again. So index travel time matching the animal, x matching the terrain. Now, why? So thing I'm wondering is, okay, there we go. That's what I was wondering. It's just a calculation thing. So this will calculate all of it for the eagle. So here's what I want. If this comes up with east, west, west, east, north, south. If it's south, give me north. I want the opposite direction path, and I want the minimum of these travel times depending on the direction they come from. All right, so there we go. So then that means the path in we'll take 3990. The total is 7420. Let's check if that matches. Yes, it does. So I'm going to create my data table here. And the column input cell is going to be that right there. Let's refresh my data. Oh, this is going to take a while, isn't it? Let's try saving. So basically, if I haven't explained it clearly, what I did was I calculated the times for all the paths in this DA column. And what that will do is then I don't need to recalculate the path that the eagle is coming in from. And then I can also find the quickest path out depending on which direction I am looking at. So that should match all of the answers there. Let's paste them in. Now see, the resources are getting heavy. The resources are getting heavy. It's probably because of all the filters and stuff that I've got on it. But there we go. Everything matched. My score sheet hasn't updated. There it goes. Now it's updated. All right. Let's copy and paste values again for all these. And let's... I probably shouldn't... No, I'm not going to delete the information I've got on this sheet yet. Maybe I'll delete the data table. Because as you can see... yeah, resource intensive. I've got 4 minutes, so I do feel comfortable with getting the last two bonuses. So I'm going to delete this. All right, that should help speed things up a little bit. Let's see what the last two bonuses are. Instead of escaping through a different path, assume all animals must escape through the path they came from. What is the fastest possible round trip times across all paths in Temple 3? All right, that one is pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the animals out here. And I'm going to copy paste these because I don't think I need to bring them back from the other sheet anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do minifs, or no, just min. Yeah, min works. Times 2. That should give me the answer. And I'm going to put all the animals in this cell here. That should recalculate all the cells within the sheet. And this is the fastest time, right? So this should just be a minimum of all of these cells. Please don't give me 0. It gave me 0. Because it hasn't calculated all the way yet. Let's recalculate. Okay, almost there. Almost there. There we go. Now the bonus has matched up. Let's copy paste that as well. Given the rules of level 7, what's the fastest time an animal starting at any location could retrieve a golden idol and exit the temple? All right. So we need to find the fastest time for any animal. So let me just delete those. I'm going to keep that. Let's do north, south, east, west. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the minimum times. Oh, no, it should be minifs. Minimum times from each direction. Okay. And if we do north plus south, east plus west. There we go. I'm just going to do the minimum of those 2 times. And we'll run through all the animals again. All right. We go back here. Bring up the min. And that should give me the answer. There we go. 1250 and within 30 minutes. I have finally officially solved the case. Once again, big shout out to Harry Gross and Dim for just helping me work through the resource issues, getting the right formula for that. And I hope this case never haunts me in my dreams again. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you for the next video.